Green Lanterns, issue 18, Sam Humphries writing and Robson Roca on art. Now, Robson Roca's obviously been doing issues of this here or there. I can't tell you which one specifically, but I do think this is the best looking issue that Robson Roca's done since he's been doing art in this.
I think it has a lot to do with the inks and colors.
Well, yeah, obviously I was going to get to this.
Yeah, I was going to say, the colours are really helped in this one.
Because obviously he's done other issues, but I think this one is a lot more moody. Partly, and do you know what I love about it? And I really wish they would maybe adopt this and do this every so often, depending on the arc.
Yeah.
Muted greens. Mute that son of a bitch. I want to see a Green Lantern comic book. It at least looks different from every other Green Lantern comic that we've seen for the last 10 goddamn years, and I like that.
Yeah.
I like that
even his narration boxes, they're still green, but they're this dark, dull green. It's not bright in your face.
Yeah. It's okay to not be
bright. You don't need
bright.
lime green when it comes to Volthoom.
Yeah. Because my favourite panel actually is when... Because obviously this issue is Volthoom basically telling his history to Necron. Necron, presumably set before the events that we've had him in this book.
Yeah.
He was with Necron. Necron was about to kill him, and he recounts his history to Necron. And he's like, he was on this other Earth, and the planet was dying. Him and his mother built this lantern that can transport him through time and space and dimensions.
Traveling lantern.
Traveling lantern. That was the phrase. And he goes around, he helps some people, he tries to learn different things, and he eventually runs into the Guardians, and they take it, ends up corrupting and they betray him, and he turns him out, and he gets imprisoned, and that's what leads to the whole First Lantern arc and Old Green Lantern. One of my favourite panels in this entire book is when they've created the first 7 Green Lanterns, and there's a panel of all the 7 Green Lanterns like staring them down, and they're in the dark, and you can just see their glowing green eyes and their emblems in their chest.
Yeah, and the star on the rings.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like they've not done anything interesting or different with how they show a Green Lantern in such a long time that I really appreciate. Even though in this case it's because they're meant to be menacing because they're menacing to him, it's just so different than the constant bright light. And I get that that's Green Lantern's thing, but it felt so refreshing here to see it done differently.
It did, because even I think it's like the very first page is Hal. Like, it's the only time we really get bright green in it, but it still feels more muted than the Green Lanterns have felt in this book up till now.
Oh yeah. Even actually the cover, even the colour in the title looks just a little bit duller, a little bit more muted, in a good way.
It does, yeah.
And I like it. I like it a lot. It feels nice and different.
I definitely think the art is great. It's the first time Roca's felt like it's got a style. It's not like often I found as well. It's just been okay. This is just it. But this is the first time I've thought, there's a style to this issue.
I think they probably let him go a bit more nuts because it is from a specific person's point of view, and because of that, you can make it feel a bit different. It doesn't have to feel like the rest of the issues. And as a result, I think that's why we've ended up with this.
I do wonder who requested things like the colours be muted. Was that just the colorist decision? Was this something came from Roca? Was it something that came from Humphries?
I also like the look of the
team effort.
Yeah, I like the look of the Guardians. Like before they become the Guardians, when they're all in their robes and they've got
the Malthusians.
They've got glowing green light coming from their eyes and mouths, and they look super creepy. I'm all about that.
And then they did some weird space ritual and gave up their emotions to create a ring, but that was new. Like in all my Green Lantern fandom, I've never heard that. So that was a nice touch.
I love that panel of him putting on that ring for the first time as well. It was great.
He also, Volthoom in his human form reminds me a lot of Leminski. Like they have a lot of the same physical features.
Yeah, you're right.
So I'm wondering if that was done after to kind of tie him to Leminski a little bit more.
Maybe that's why he's picked him and why he's helping him, because he sees some of himself.
Yeah, exactly.
In him.
Yeah.
Also, so while you guys were first talking, I was real quiet because I was looking up what Earth he came from. Volthoom. It was Earth 15.
Yeah.
All right, so it was one of the original 51 and 52, and it was destroyed by Superman Prime during his search for the true home dimension.
All right, so is that what they're talking about then when the planet's dying?
I think so.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And on top of that, post Flashpoint, Earth 15 in Multiversity is a barren planet, right? It's like a graveyard.
Yeah.
And there's one surviving thing, and it's called the Cosmic Grail. So I click on the Cosmic Grail, and it says Traveling Lantern. So I want to know what the heck's going on here, because that is some nice seating that Humphrey's pulled from.
I almost wonder, was it actual seeding, or if they just really went back and looked at the things that were there and went, I can wrap this into a story now.
That's what I want to know. If they seeded it themselves or if he wrote around it, because that some of
either
the
way
deep mythos
works for me, because it's like they've taken the time and care to look at this.
Oh yeah,
they've chosen Earth 15 and gone, we're going to use that.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all, because that's the thing. As much as it sounds better to seed things and to have things planned ahead, if you have the same effect at the end, if you make us go, well, I'm not sure if you did seed that or not, then it doesn't matter. Yeah. It's worked.
Exactly.
No, I don't care how it was done. The fact that it was done, and now just doing a little bit of research, it all lines up. And
I sense a trip down a DC wiki rabbit hole coming on tonight.
It's just
the
whole and then we got Prime. This whole discussion we had about Prime earlier,
could Green Lanterns be more connected to the Rebirth stuff than we thought before? I don't know.
At least these guys. I mean, are the Green Lanterns of Earth we're talking about, and we have a rogue Guardian that's now possessed by Volthoom. And even having Volthoom, his soul, become Jessica's ring from Earth 3.
Yeah.
That was a nice little piece too.
And Joe, I like that. So we get this whole sense that he can't die as long as there's light in the universe. That's what Necron says to him. I can't take you, even though he wants to die. He was ready to go. He's like, kill me, please kill me.
Yeah.
And he can't. And he sees Rami sort of at the start of everything that sort of kicked all this stuff off with this ring that Leminski ends up with, the ring that doesn't, the Phantom, what's it called again? Phantom ring? Phantom ring. Yeah. Yep. And see, there's too many terminology in these books. Once we're arc past, I'm going to start forgetting some of these words. But the fact that he sees him and it kicks everything off, I like it. I like that they've... Because before it felt like Volthoom just kind of came out of nowhere. It's like, oh, here's something you recognise from a past arc. But this issue kind of feels like it... Well, even if it wasn't, it feels more planned now. It feels like, no, this all kind of ties together with some Green Lantern lore and mythos. And now we have this plot going forward. And I do want to point out the little tease at the end for the next... Because obviously it turns into a whole vengeance story and all the rest of it. But the little tease at the end, it says, next the return of Dr. Polaris.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, which we haven't had interaction with, I think, a Green Lantern or Dr. Polaris in a good long while. Yeah. So, except for Justice League or Suicide Squad.
But yeah, well,
the end of that, where we had all the teases of where people were going to end up.
Yeah.
Can anyone remember what the Polaris one was?
I can't remember.
He was rediscovering himself, because remember he was like, oh no, I was Polaris again.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Okay. But I like that book, kind of like how we have... the other characters popping up, well, Supergirl and stuff. We have the other characters popping up in places that, and it feels like, Justice League vs. Suicide Squad, they used that event to actually remind us of a bunch of characters who are now going to be popping up in various other places. That's another example of that, where Dr. Polaris now is like, oh yeah, he just popped up in that. He's fresh in my memory.
It's a question of, is he popping up here because he was in that, or is it, we want to use him in here, let's kind of put him in there first to remind everyone. It ultimately doesn't matter, because the same effect has been had.
We know that's what happened with the other one in Supergirl.
Emerald Empress.
Yeah. Here it could be either or. It doesn't really matter, but either way, it's cool. It works. And
it is.
But don't forget too that Emerald Empress's eye works off of Green Lantern tech too. So I'm thinking the Green Lanterns are going to be more tied in than we thought from before.
I'm all right with that.
But so to sum up this issue, though, it was just kind of a retelling from Volthoom's side of what his motivations are, how he became who he is, and it put a lot of things in context. It made him feel less random. Not that, it didn't feel super random, but it did just kind of feel like, we've picked a villain that felt you'd recognise him from a past arc, so here he is. Whereas now it feels more relevant and more.
I think this could have felt like a really standard and almost boring issue, because it was a lot of exposition backstory. But the fact that it actually, the art, it had style, kept me really interested throughout. So I think credit to that there.
Yeah, art was good in this week. This issue of Green Lanterns. So, no, I approve of this time. It actually feels, you compared him to Leminski, it feels a lot like that issue we got with Leminski and his past and his backstory and who he was. It feels
Yep.
kind of like, well, we got that the last arc. This arc, we start off with a one like that for Voltham. So